Welcome to the Retirement Income Show with Troy Sharpe, the CEO and founder of Oak Harvest Financial Group. We're going to talk today about retiring in a recession. Now, the president has said, hey, it might be a slight recession.
I don't think there will be a recession. If it is, it'll be a very slight recession. That is, we'll move down slightly.
I don't know if that differs when we're planning for retirement, whether it's a real recession or a slight recession. But it is, I think, a nerve-wracking time for people that are getting close to retirement or even maybe just started retirement, because there is that sequence of returns risk that you talk about all the time, that if you retire in a great market, then retirement's really pretty easy. It's those first few years of retirement. If the markets go the wrong way and all of your money's sitting in the market, you've got some problems. And then you throw in a recession, that's a lot of question marks, I would think.
Yeah, it creates a ton of not only question marks, but it also creates opportunity. So retiring in a recession, I think everyone understands that it's much, much more difficult than retiring in a bull market. Anyone who's retired over really the past, let's call it 12 years, coming out of the 2008 market kind of meltdown because of the subprime mortgage crisis. And if you retired in 2009 or 2010 or 11 or any of those years, you retired at one of the best times, historically speaking, to ever retire, because the market averaged over that 10-year period somewhere around about 15%. We're talking about the S&P 500 here, somewhere in that range. And when you retire and the market's averaging 15%, it makes portfolio withdrawals not that big of a concern in regards to you can make a lot of mistakes and still end up being okay. Now, those people who retired the decade before, coming out of the dot-com bubble burst, that was an entirely different decade. So if you retired in 2000, you had a lost decade. Essentially, the market lost somewhere around about negative 1% per year. So 2000, 01, 02, the market is down, finally starts to rebound, gain some solid footing. 2008 comes, and of course, the bottom falls out again. And then the recovery takes about 4 or 5 years there. So that was a very difficult time to retire. And that's where, in those types of environments, you have to have a strategy. You have to be very intelligent regarding what you're doing with your tax opportunities, and also where you're taking your income from and how much income that you're taking. So we're big believers in a dynamic spending plan here at Oak Harvest Financial Group. We want our clients to spend more money in retirement, not less, so you can pass on $3 million or $4 million or $2 million, whatever that number is. When we talk about the retirement success plan, it all starts with having a discussion with you about what success means in retirement. As that process goes along, we have to take into consideration the environment that we're in. So as I spoke to the prior years, if you retired 5 years ago or 6 years ago or 3 years ago, we were in the middle of a bull market. So if you had certain legacy goals or charitable goals, or you wanted to gift to your children or grandchildren, help pay for college, in an environment where the Fed is reducing interest rates and the government is essentially printing money to support the economy, then you can be a bit more aggressive if you're comfortable and willing to take that risk if things turn against you, because odds are pretty good when we have soft monetary policy, meaning the Federal Reserve is lowering interest rates. We had zero interest rate policy for some time. The markets tend to perform well, growth stocks better than value stocks in that environment, but you can make more mistakes and still get away with it. But you can also, some people choose to be a bit more aggressive at that point because the odds are in their favor. In a recessionary environment like we're currently in now, where the exact opposite monetary policy is taking place, we have to be a bit more defensive, but we also have to be, again, more strategic when it comes to not just trying to protect the portfolio against losses, but withdrawing income, how much income we take. That's where the dynamic spending plan comes in. I'm going to touch on in a minute. The tax opportunities. You have a lot of different tax opportunities in this type of environment, but you have to be aware of them. Then you have to, of course, know the appropriate amounts to take advantage of. Healthcare is a big one. You know, when you look at the cost of healthcare, out-of-pocket costs, prescriptions, copays, deductibles, long-term care increasing 5 to 10% a year on average when you look at those costs across the country. Losing money in a recession, taking money out of your accounts in a recession typically is going to mean you have less money down the road, which could jeopardize that healthcare or long-term care plan. And then finally, the estate side of things. A lot of things you can do in a recession with the estate planning as well. But all of that is what we call the retirement success plan. And it starts with having a conversation with you. How do you define success in retirement? Because we believe all that money that you've worked for and accumulated, it's designed to do a couple of things. One, provide security for you and your family first and foremost. You can't take it with you, so let's figure out how much can we spend, live the lifestyle we want to live without the fear of running out of money in 20 years or 15 years or 30 years. Also having enough left for healthcare. The tax side of things, when we look at your account being down, let me put some math to it. When your account's down, let's say you have $1 million and you wanted to convert $100,000 to a Roth IRA. Put it into the tax-free account. So when you take money from the IRA, you move it over to the Roth, you pay taxes today, but that money is now in a tax-free environment. All interest, all growth forever will be 100% tax-free. Now, if your accounts are down, let's say they drop from $1 million to $800,000. We can still move that $100,000 over to the Roth IRA, but now you've moved a larger percentage of your retirement account over to Roth. It's still the same tax liability. It's still the same amount of money in that tax-free environment, but if we expect the market to rebound, which we do, it's just a matter of if and when, historically speaking, that $100,000, when it rebounds, now it's growing back in this tax-free environment. But more importantly, you've converted a larger percentage of your overall IRA. You've started to take care of that tax-infested nightmare. And why is it a tax-infested nightmare? Your retirement account, your 401k? It's because if you follow the conventional wisdom advice and you let that account defer while you spend down your other money, oftentimes it grows to such a number when you hit 72 and you're forced to start distributing money from that account, it causes a tax domino effect. It can bump you into higher Medicare brackets. It can bump you into what's called net investment income tax brackets, where you're paying an additional 3.8% on your capital gains. So there's this whole domino effect that takes place once you're what's called modified adjusted gross income, which is essentially your adjusted gross income. You add back any tax-free interest and a few other items there, but for most of you, you add back your municipal bond interest. Then what happens is, if that number is larger because you're forced to take money out of the IRA, all of a sudden it creates this domino effect where you're paying higher Medicare premiums potentially, you're paying more tax on your investment gains, on your dividends, on your interest from investment accounts. So it creates this entire effect. So we really need a tax plan. And in a recession like this, a larger percentage of that overall account can start to move out. And that has two effects. One, you get more money into the Roth IRA, assuming the market's going to rebound, because otherwise, when it rebounded, if you left that $100,000 in the IRA, it's just going to grow, and now it's going to be 120 or 130, 140 down the road. So now your RMDs at 72 and beyond are going to be much larger. But it also does a second thing here. It reduces your future required minimum distributions because that money is no longer in your retirement account. It's in that tax-free Roth, and there are no required minimum distributions from the Roth. Now, I talked about legacy planning because that's step 5 of our retirement success process. Let's say it's important to you that your children get a step ahead in life and you don't want to bounce your last check. And we have plenty of clients that do, and that's plenty okay. We need to build a plan around that, whatever your desire is. But you're also helping the legacy plan when you're doing these Roth conversions in a recessionary environment, because both of those accounts, your traditional IRA and your Roth IRA, they have to be fully distributed in 10 years once you pass away and those kids inherit it. The Roth IRA, when your kids distribute that money, they can let it grow tax-free for an additional 10 years, taking out what they need, and never pay taxes on a single dollar of interest gained in that account or at all. Now, your IRA, the IRS has recently provided guidance that says not only do your kids have to fully distribute your retirement account in 10 years, but they also have to take required minimum distributions. So think about your kids. Maybe you have a son and he's married and they're both working, or maybe one spouse is working, has a really good job. Now, all of a sudden, you leave $1 million retirement account or a $2 million retirement account. They have to take all that money out. That income distributed from the inherited IRA goes on top of their working income, their earnings, plus maybe any other income they have from rental real estate or side jobs or whatever income. Now, all of a sudden, they're getting bumped into that 30, 40. Maybe taxes are a lot higher in 15, 20 years, maybe 50, 60%. So you're really, when you're doing these tax strategies, especially in a recessionary environment, because we believe markets are going to come back. We ask our clients to believe one thing, and that's capital markets work long term. Short term, there is volatility and there is fluctuation, but we believe capital markets work over the long time. The stock market follows corporate earnings. The stock market is nothing more than a discounting mechanism for future earning expectations for corporations, essentially taking into current earnings plus a growth rate, future revenues, et cetera, and calculating that into, or discounting it, I should say, into a present value. One thing we have to be aware of is there are opportunities, and when we're in this environment, it is gloom and doom, and it doesn't feel good, and you turn on the news, and everyone's trying to scare the you-know-what. But the truth is, if we have a plan and we take advantage of the opportunities that are available to us while sticking to that plan, our opinion is we're going to come out ahead over the long run because we had a plan, we stuck to that plan, we took advantage of the opportunities that were presented, and because of that, the plan should end up being better in the long run. I'm Troy Sharpe. This is the Retirement Income Show. The phone number to sit down, have a conversation is 1-800-822-6434. No cost for the consultation. We're simply going to get to know you, what's important to you, and we're really going to start to define what retirement success means for you. Is it making sure that you have enough? Do you want more income in the beginning years of retirement when you're more active and healthy and expect to travel? Is healthcare and long-term care, is that important to you? Do we need to work that into your plan, into our process? Estate planning, making sure that your wishes after you're gone come true. That's part of the planning. We typically take care of that in the first year of the relationship, working with your attorneys, or we have a list of attorneys that we work with. But all of this stuff we do in a very structured, very detail-oriented process. We call it the Retirement Success Plan. And to get that process started, to get going on your very own customized Retirement Success Plan, pick up the phone, give us a call. It's 1-800-822-6434. You're going to leave a message if you're listening to this on the weekends. We record the show for YouTube. We have a few thousand people every weekend that watch the Retirement Income Show on YouTube. So if you call during business hours, you will get somebody on the phone. But 1-800-822-6434, visit the website. And if you haven't been to the YouTube channel yet, we have hundreds of videos out there with the goal of providing value for you, delivering content that improves your understanding of some of the more detailed or nuanced concepts I talk about in regards to retirement planning right here on the Retirement Income Show. So just go to YouTube, search Oak Harvest Financial Group, search my name, Troy Sharpe. You'll find the videos. If you subscribe to the channel, there's no cost. We'll just simply go into, I like to call it your TV guide. So when you go back to YouTube, you can, oh, you know what? I checked these guys out a couple of months ago. Let me see what they put out there now and if it's something that I can benefit from. So go to YouTube, search for Oak Harvest Financial Group.
So this is the Retirement Income Show with Troy Sharpe, the CEO and founder of Oak Harvest Financial Group. Our topic today, retiring in a recession. We're just getting started. We got a lot more to get to. Stay with us. Investment advisory services offered through Oak Harvest Financial Group, LLC. Oak Harvest Financial Group is an independent financial services firm that helps people create retirement strategies using a variety of insurance and investment products. Investing involves risk, including the loss of principal. Any references to protection benefits or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investment products. Insurance and annuity product guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Oak Harvest Financial Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. You should speak to a qualified professional before making any decisions about your personal situation. We are not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency. This radio show is a paid placement.